It's another day playing with the 420. To start off with, yeah, relay hasn't arrived yet, but I love this interior. I've been giving it some love and attention, not just the cleaning, but since then I found my Autoglim leather care balm, so I've been gently feeding it. I don't want to go silly because it just doesn't get absorbed enough, but just giving it another very light coat. There's so much in my microfiber cloth that I probably don't even need to put more in the bottle. It's just kind of all impregnated in there. But anyway, back to trying to waterproof it. All of that red oxide has gone off. I didn't get around to fitting the seal. I kind of forgot about it. But while I was reading the comments, I can't remember your name, but somebody said check out sealing the rear lights, or he remembered sealing the rear lights, and yeah, sure enough, there's loads of water in there. So I'm going to do what I do on the SD1s, which is take the rear lights out and then seal it with butyl, and then that should keep them nice and waterproof, because I think water's just going straight in there and then straight into the unit and then filling up the boot. Not ideal. You might notice the wood trim is missing off that door card. I had a go at trying to get rid of the damp marks from moisture, but that's not working, so I might need some new wood trims, which will be fun to try and find. Well, there's the problem. Water is definitely finding its way in there, so I'll clean all this up. I'll put that inside somewhere to dry out, then I can pull that gasket off, seal the gasket to the car, and then put it all back together again. Same the other side. No rust though, which is the result. Wow, this side is even soggier, so plenty of sealing to do. A couple of very minor things. This panel has had some little panel beating in and around here, and the holes for the rear lights have been enlarged. When you look, there's a slight crease in the wing here. Basically, I think this car has had a very light tap in the back, and it smacked the light into here and there, and somebody's done a bit of a shite job of repairing it. The rest of the rear lamp panel and the bumper support mount and everything is all straight, so it's a bit odd. It's like something high up hit it. At this side, it's all nice and straight. There was some slight surface rust on the back of there, so I've just hit it with the wire wheel again and have treated it, and I'll do the same over there as well, just for shits and giggles, and because it will need painting anyway. I thought I would clean this up, paint it satin black, and then I can make a decision about whether I do actually want to use it or not. It's actually in really good order. I've taken off all of the double-sided sticky that was on here just using panel wipe. There's a couple of scratches there, but considering it's going to be just satin, this doesn't really matter too much. I've got some 1200 grit and some fine Scotch-Brite, so I'm going to get the hose out and just very, very gently knock back some of these bits. And I mean super gentle, because even though it's satin, you will see it, and it's such a uniform surface to start with that I don't want to go silly and ruin it. That, my friends, is extremely jammy. Those bits that look like scratches with a tiny little round motion came off. It was just paint transfer, so that means the prep is minimal. I'm just going to clean it all, degrease it, go through these sort of indentation lines, just make sure there's no shite in there, and then we should be good to go. Done most of the outside just with the Scotch-Brite, but I'm using the wet and dry to really get in these channels, because those are the bits, strangely, that are probably going to be the most difficult to get the paint to stick. And in and around here and these bits, I'm doing that with the wet and dry as well, just to key it properly. All keyed up, rubbed down, and ready for paint. I assumed this was always blue, but it's not. It was actually graphite metallic. So I assumed it was off one of the FDA cars, FDH, the 220 turbos that went to Japan, wouldn't sell and came back. But I don't think it was. I think it was off a grey car, so meh, no idea how it's come to be back in the UK, but I'm happy it is. I'm going to degrease it a final time with some panel wipe, quality solvent and some, go over the top of this with black bumper and trim spray paint. No need for special pre-treatment. Perfect. Spitfire action. I think it's the one from Biggin Hill, but it flies over very regularly. Occasionally it does quite a steep turn over us as well, which is kind of cool. Sounds awesome. It is fascinating that when you think things are clean, you go over them again with a cloth and you get more grub and crap off them. So it shows why a lot of paint jobs don't stick. It's just they aren't cleaned enough. Well, that looks pretty cool. Hopefully when the paint's dry it goes a bit more satin than that, because that's really still quite gloss. So got it in the workshop, got my crappy little heater going, and I'm going to go and have some lunch, but that looks alright. I'm pretty pleased. I'm going to try and get out of here without knocking it. That's good. Run away. That's the seal ready to go in. I'm going to again put some of this rust corrosion stuff. This is the underbody clear, which is for the underside of the car, but it still has anti-corrosion properties and it won't damage rubber, so I'm going to shoot it into the slot. Just, oh, shit, camera work again, but you know, you get the idea. Just when it's pushed onto that seam it shouldn't damage it. The seal is on. You wouldn't know there was a rusty hole under there, which is fantastic. If I hadn't have just shown it all on the internet. Never mind. Next, tail lights, and I'm going to do what I do with all the other cars, which is put butyl sealer in here, which will seal the gasket to the unit, the studs as well, and then on the back side as well where it touches the car, shove it on and hopefully it will stay weather resistant. A liberal amounts applied and then stuck on myself, which is very clever. Can go on the car. It's getting windy now. This incidentally has all been cleaned up with panel wipe as well, so it should seal nicely. You can hear the Spitfire over there somewhere. Back in the workshop looking at the rear plinth, it was looking really good. I was very happy with myself. Then I realised that I'd been a moron and there was some areas in here that hadn't quite dried, so the paint balled up on it. So I'm just going through with some wet and dry held on end very carefully, just chasing these grooves out. I'm going to hope that I can just dust over the top again and fill those areas in without it looking rubbish. So now I've got to go find more panel wipe and see if I can get the dust out of there now. That was very much one of those quit while you're ahead type jobs, because areas that were dry needed to be wetted to get it to all flow in together. I think it's going to be alright. So see in the middle there, that's dry, it kind of bleeds in. I'm no painting expert, by the way, this is all just rattle can homebrew stuff, but end result is I think that's going to look pretty good, and I'm quite excited to fit it actually. More Spitfire action. It's so cool that those are still flying and literally over my house. I bit the bullet and bought some more plates, just the standard front plate. That one just looked a bit crappy, particularly that edge. And then because I was spending the money and you kind of get two for not much more than one, I purchased a new square number plate for the rear panel. So I'm just going to offer that up and make my final decision as to whether or not I like it. I'm still unconvinced, and I guess it'll be one of those things I'll fit it and I'll be able to sort of make my mind up. Well, after all that, and it's not fitted properly, it's sort of balanced it on there, that needs to go in a bit, but I've decided I don't like it, which is kind of where I was going anyway, so I'm going to put the original back on and then I'll just sell that on to someone. Maybe Matt from Furious Driving, he might want it for his 220. In true James fashion, I've totally forgotten where I'm up to, what I've been doing in projects and that, but I'm messing around with this one again. I have refitted the door card because I've found a new replacement switch and module. That electric window now works. Doesn't work on one touch, but all the other bits work. Door card's gonna have to come off again because I can't get it sitting nicely up there, which is really annoying. And a couple of the connectors along, brackets along the bottom are broken, so I've ordered some new ones. At the back, I'm going with the original number plate plinth, so I'm just screwing that back on. I've got some copper slip on the nuts because there's a bit of a, you know, some of them felt like they were going to rust. Original number plate's going to go back on, and I'm going to fit the new front number plate because it looks much nicer than the old one. All back together. I've just taken the car for a spin up the road to get some beer, and it's super fun to play around in. It's really quick, like I didn't think it'd be that fast, but yeah, it does put a smile on your face. Anyway, I'll upload this and hopefully it'll make sense as some sort of video. Oh, I didn't actually bother swapping the front plate. I'll do that another time.